and we rapid speed down to 2,500.
Good point, wherever you reduce speed to 180.
Blackbox.
Hey everyone, welcome back to KP's Blackbox. Today in the studio with me, Shannon, Shorty, Short Ridge, Shortcakes, Quad S. You guys know already. Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about all things estate and your estate plan, and we're going to kind of commingle that, bring that back to what we do for a living, Shannon, and helping our clients in the retirement distribution phase. Move from where they are to where they want to be. Yep. And then more importantly, or as equally important, what they do with their assets after they're gone. Yeah. But it's not so much at death. I mean, having a proper estate plan can mean that you're preparing things as if you would have died, because sometimes you can have a living death, like incapacity. So those are type things that we need to plan for, have that drawn up in our state. And so a lot of people have come in over the past couple of years, and it makes a lot of sense because we have 10,000 people a day, 10,000 people a day reaching retirement age, which Social Security defines as like 65. Yeah. So by 2034, there's going to be, I think, 88 million Americans at or over the age of 65.
And when you hear that, you think massive transfer of wealth in the future.
Yeah. So making sure that you have your estate plan alongside of your financial plan, retirement income distribution plan, that you have those things in order. So we're going to help demystify some of the stuff today, and we've created some guides between us and our back office team. We've put together some really good info for you. And then last year, or about 2 years ago, I launched a site called Estate Box Pro, where we help our clients. And it was really designed initially for our clients to have a place to go complete their estate plan, because I saw the enormous cost that they were spending on the outside with law firms. And not trying to replace legal advice here, folks. We're not attorneys.
Highlighting the importance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going through and giving really good information. But if you do need to go to that next level of legal advice, please go seek out legal advice. And we can help you.
And just point one thing out with the 10,000 people a day turning 65. It's not just for retirees. Right? You get married, probably start to create a will. Yeah. Do it early and let it become a living document with you.
Everyone has an estate. That's a very good point. Yeah. Estate plans aren't for old people.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So Cody, Jacob in the studio, you guys pay attention to this today. Our young bucks who make Shannon and I look really good on camera.
That's right.
Which, by the way, sporting my light blue, and it looks like you are as well. My light blue, supporting my lifelong favorite team, the Tar Heels. This year, Jake, they are going to be number one in the ACC. They're going to take it. We've got the coach now.
Yeah, okay.
Who's your team, Jake?
Oh, Tar Heels.
Okay.
Bill Belichick, now the head football coach for the Tar Heels. So.
Got loading like Bill Belichick today.
I am? Oh. Well, is Shannon like my 27-year-old?
I was waiting for that to come out.
All right.
With a beard.
Yeah, in all seriousness. So, as always, you're probably wondering when we're going to take a shot if you've watched the podcast. We are always very, very thankful for our service people who are serving, going down range every day, whether it be overseas, at home. Our veterans, our Gold Star families, we always want to pay tribute and make a toast. So,
cheers. Here's to the fam.
And, by the way, before you hit it, 4 branches is what we're drinking all year through the end of the year. Harold, we're out. We need some more. So at the end of the year, every vet that comes in for our show, they sign the serve honorably, drink honorably, 4 Branches bourbon. And then we're going to auction this off at one of our events with all the signatures on there. And we'll have Harold Underdown, one of the founders of 4 Branches, back on the show with us to celebrate that.
And just to say this, before we would do something really dumb like jump out of an airplane, we would say, send it.
Send it. Did you always do a toast before you jump?
No, that was the night. That was the night before.
Night before. So you'd have the courage to jump. Wow. Okay, so all things estate planning today. Shorty, when we go through interviews with prospects, clients, I think probably when we get to this subject or around to this subject, the number one question I hear is, well, Kenny, should I have a trust?
Yeah.
And for most people, if you have stuff, if you have assets, the answer's highly likely yes. And specifically, well, if you're going to have a trust, well, what type of trust? And the overarching estate plan for, I would say, anyone under 25 million in family assets, you should consider a revocable living trust that comes with a pour-over will and then your medical directives and medical power of attorneys. And you can add in a general power of attorney in that. You want to be careful with those, and that can give a lot of power. Mm-hmm. And sometimes people forget who they've allocated power to.
25 million, that's a big number.
Yeah.
Why is that?
So that's our current rough estate tax number. So if we're under that unified tax credit, that estate tax limit between 2 spouses, you won't have an estate tax bill. Once you start exceeding that, then you've got to deal with an estate tax on top of probate tax, mm-hmm. on top of income tax. So then we have to be a little more creative than just using a
trust.
Well, a revocable living trust. Yeah. That's where we're going to get into the world of irrevocable trust, or splitting up the estate from you, the individual. Now, and we'll get into that a little more today. The second question that we hear is, well, if I have a trust, how much do I save in income tax? And the answer is 0. There is not a trust on the planet that avoids or mitigates income tax. So if you're hearing people say that, if you hear Instagram, Facebook, and you hear videos of people saying they're going to help you avoid or mitigate income tax, run. It's a lie. It's a scam.
There is no loophole.
There's no loophole.
The government is in front of you at all times.
Now, that's not the case for estate tax, and people get that confused all the time. Income tax is not estate tax. Estate tax is not an income tax. It's a tax on your entire estate that was calculated in the estate tax calculations. So what we really want to talk about today, because this is the overwhelming majority of people in our country, the overwhelming majority of people in our country should have a will and or both, a revocable living trust. That will help you avoid probate tax. That will help you avoid people knowing about your estate, because if you fund the trust properly, and we'll come back to funding in a few minutes, yes. If you fund this estate properly, or fund the trust properly, I should say, then you will also keep your estate private.
One of the things I think, if you're watching and you're like, I'm brand new to this. What does probate mean?
So probate is a rule that basically says the state that you're domiciled, that you're a resident of, if you pass away, the court wants to make sure that your estates are allocated to the rightful heirs. And that's not free. The state says, well, if we got to step in and be involved in that, then we're going to probate, or we're going to audit the estate to make sure that your assets go to your rightful family members. And by the way, when the state gets involved, or when the government gets involved in anything, does it usually go the way you want it to?
No.
So,
That's why I asked that question.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you die in any state without a will, remember what that's called?
Intestate.
Intestate.
Yep.
So if you die intestate, then the state has its obligation, or they believe that they have the obligation
The authority.
and the authority,
Right.
probably more important than the obligation,
Yeah.
to administer your estate. Now, if you have a will, there's some parties, and so let's talk about the parties involved in a will. In a will, there's you, the person who has designed or developed the will. You're the estate holder. You own the stuff that you're going to pass through will to a loved one. You usually have to name someone to help you after you're dead. There's got to be someone help you execute that.
Then known as the executor.
The executor.
Right.
So in wills, you have an executor. Are you guys bringing this up on the in our estate planning guide, which is this document here? We'll give you a hyperlink where you'll be able to pull up the estate planning guide. And this is about, 14, 15 pages?
15 pages.
Of really, really good information of what we're going over today. Let's go right to the front page here, guys. We got it up on the screen. So if you have a will, and you're going through this guide with us, and we'll just walk through this today, take us to the index page, if you would, guys. We're going to go through and understand what these things mean. And so every person, 101, if you think of it that way, every person has an estate. Mm-hmm. If you own anything, you've got an estate. And so what we want to make sure is that upon your passing, those things that you own go to the rightful heirs.
Kenny, one of the questions I wrote down here was, when you look at everybody having an estate, what's one of the biggest risks of waiting too long to create a will or a revocable living trust?
I think one of the biggest risks is the risk of you dying, or maybe even worse, being incapacitated.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a will and no trust, Shannon, and let's say you're in a comatose state, well, can the will be affected?
No.
No, you're not dead.
Yeah.
The will's only good upon death.
That's where you hear those horror stories of people holding the hand of the incapacitated person signing for them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't endorse any of that.
Absolutely not. That, yeah.
Yeah. But the way to avoid that is to piggyback the will with a revocable living trust. And then the parties that are going to be in that, and I don't think I finished that thought.
Sorry.
In a will, you got the executor. Mm-hmm. That's the one that's after you're dead. They're going to follow the wishes of your will. Now, in order to have a will, this just happened sadly. We had a friend of the community, in the SEAL community. A guy was a submariner, was over at Dev Group for a while, in a liaison position. He retires, goes to the police department, and unfortunately, like a lot of folks today, committed suicide. We're in that community who'd had TBIs and a lot of trauma. Unfortunately, the guy killed himself. Now, what's worse than that, if you can imagine, is that he thought he was doing the right thing by leaving a handwritten will with a suicide note. Well, guess what? The state won't recognize his handwritten will. Guess why?
Because they don't know if he's the one who wrote it.
That's right.
Yeah.
No one to witness it,
Right.
and there was no notary.
Yeah.
So your will has to have two parties involved in executing a proper will, at least in Virginia. One, there has to be the person who created the will. Then there has to be the executor, the person you're going to name to take over the estate. Then there has to be beneficiaries. Who do you want your stuff to go to? And then at the execution of that will, you need to have the person who created the will sign it, date it, and that they are of good mind and sound mind. So one would argue if a person was thinking about committing suicide, they probably could argue not of sound mind. Well, that's why you would want to have somebody witness that, because if you and I were witnessing that and the guy was like, oh, alongside of this, I got a suicide note, we'd probably be getting them help.
Yeah.
And going, hey, don't do that.
Let me ask you this, and, obviously very sad. Let's say somebody creates a video and says, hey, like, I'm on my last leg here. And not suicide, whatever. They're going to pass away. They know they're going to pass away. Will a video work?
That's a really good question, and I haven't thought of that one.
Yeah.
And you caught me on camera.
No, I mean, yeah. I'd never thought of it either until now. I mean,
just now.
Yeah.
I would guess that a video would be evidence
Yeah.
that would help support a claim. And I think the court, it would still go intestate.
Right.
If there was no will,
Yeah.
they would still be passing away intestate.
Yeah, I'm
So
curious
without a will.
curious how the legal authorities would look at that.
Yeah,
I'll go research that when we're done.
that would be that'd be a great legal question for an attorney.
Yeah.
But just us two gabbing about that, I think that provides some evidence of what they would set out. And so I think a court would look at that and go, well, they did leave this video, because we will talk about leaving videos, pictures, and stuff for the stuff you want to go to family members.
Yeah.
And we got another client on the other side of this who just, developed his trust, and he had an amazing gun collection, had an amazing bunch of different artifacts from his hunting days, you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And he documented, serialized everything as a part of his trust.
His book's about that big.
But it's really cool.
Yeah.
And just the document alone is a great legacy piece.
Yeah. One of the things I picked up from that was really having an appreciation for your own stuff.
Yeah.
And wanting the people who are coming behind you in your family name to experience that.
Yeah. And to understand, well, what was your interest and why did you do this? And you went on this hunt. Why did you kill all those animals? What's that about?
Yeah.
And there's a story behind it. So he did a beautiful job in his estate planning. So finishing this will thought, the executor, the beneficiary, and then the people who are going to attest to you signing it other than yourself is you'd have someone notarize the will. And usually you would have two people witness that in front of the notary. And so this will now has all of your stuff in it. What you want to have happen with your bank accounts. So what most people will do who's taken this to the next level to avoid probate, the will's not going to avoid probate by itself. If you want to avoid probate and you don't want to do a trust, then you're going to want to make sure that your life insurance is named to the proper beneficiaries. You'd want to make sure that your IRAs are named to individuals, so the beneficiaries in your IRAs, 401ks are individuals. Your non-qualified accounts, like brokerage, bank accounts, you would want those to be POD or TOD. Mm-hmm. That's payable on death or transfer on death. And you can simply go down to your bank and make those changes. That will avoid probate because upon your death, they go directly to who you named, payable to.
I'll just throw this little plug in here. I can't tell you guys how many times I personally have spoken to somebody, and you'll attest to this. When we start going through documents and we go to the beneficiary page and there's no beneficiary,
Yeah.
or the document, or they've been in an IRA for 20 plus years, get to the beneficiary page and it's maybe an ex-wife or an ex-husband.
50% of marriages end in divorce in America.
Yeah.
It is very common to see an ex-spouse
Yeah.
as a beneficiary.
I mean, sitting here right now, I just thought, oh crap, we bought a house last year. I need to go and put that in my trust.
Right.
So staying on top of those things and constantly
The quick claim
up-
deed.
Yeah, quit claim deed, but constantly updating your documents to meet your current environment, right?
Yeah.
It's so important.
Yeah. And it happens to the best of us, especially those of us like, in the financial business, we can tend to be the shoe cobbler sometimes where we go, I'm working on everybody else's stuff and I forget about mine.
Yeah.
And I'm often reminding myself, hey, here's a checklist of things you got to do
Yeah.
to make sure that your family's protected.
Yeah.
So as we're going through this, Shannon, those are very good points. Beneficiaries, make sure that the people you're leaving your money to is actually the people you want it to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you go beyond the will and you go, hey, don't want my estate to be public, I still do not want my estate to go through probate, and it will, like your house will go through probate, unless you've created a titling event to avoid that. One of the easiest ways to avoid that with real estate is through quit claim deed, which is where you go ahead and title it in advance to your revocable living trust. So what we're talking about now is funding the trust. And so we get into that, again, in the estate planning guide. Guys, if you want to bring that back up on the screen here, and we just kind of scroll through this real quick. In our estate planning guide, we lay out the essentials of the estate planning documents. And you can see here on page 2, right at the top is a revocable living trust. And this is the primary tool, again, for folks with no estate tax issues. The primary tool, the go-to tool to make sure that we can avoid probate, that we can fund where we want the assets to go to, and where we want those things other than money, how we want those to be allocated to our family members. You got to have a revocable living trust. And so we get into some information here. I won't take the time to read through all this today. But number 2 is the will. And specifically, we talk about it being a pour-over will. So a pour-over will basically says, hey, estate, if Kenny forgot to put anything into the trust, and putting it into the trust means funding. Shannon, we see this often. Folks will come in and they'll say, oh, yeah, we went and we hired an attorney. We paid him $5,500 to do a trust for us. And so we have our trust. And I go, that's awesome. Can I look at your statements now? And we look at their statements, and it says Jane and John Doe brokerage account. And I'm like, did you fund your trust? And they look at you a little dumbfounded and go, well, what do you mean fund? Well, did the attorney have you change the ownership into the trust? Oh, no. And this is where I play a little bit of the devil in the mix here. I think sometimes there might be some attorneys out there, and you guys can be mad at me if you want, but I think they do that on purpose. Because if you pass and you've got this trust and all of your assets have not been funded in the trust, and then this person is panicking to get the documents in line with the assets, well, guess who do you call?
Mm-hmm. Not Ghostbusters.
Nope. You call that attorney who drafted the trust. I saw this happen with a client in Michigan. Their father had passed away. The father owned a funeral home in Michigan. Shannon, this man who was in the funeral business for 20 plus years had no will, no trust.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, long story short, what ended up happening was the attorney that my clients hired to help them with this issue of dealing with the estate. With probate and the attorney costs, 16% of the estate went to probate and attorney fees. Probate was about 1.5%. The other 15 plus was the attorney fees.
So almost 30% total.
In a $1 million+ estate.
That's over $300,000.
$300,000
Yeah.
the firm made. Now, some people would say that might be egregious. And that guy would go, well, you know, I make $600 an hour.
Yeah.
Here's how many hours my team and I are going to put into this, and here's your fee.
I was reading, I was reading through Facebook and some other stuff, and I came across this guy who trades the market really, really well. He was making 10 to 12 million bucks a month, or is making 10 to 12 million bucks a month. So you're looking at $144 million a year. And I was kind of going through my head. I'm like, okay, well, that's an estate problem.
Right.
This guy's really good. And I wonder if he knows that he created, through his diligence of learning and becoming excellent in what he does, he's created an estate problem for himself.
Right.
So then I went and did all the math, and it's the same exact thing. It was about 30% of his estate, if he hasn't had it all set up right, will go back to the government.
Yeah.
That's
just on the income tax side and the probate tax side.
Yeah.
Then if the guy really has an estate over $25 million, then he's going to deal with, above that stepped up basis, he's going to deal with estate tax on top of that. So, and there are cases where 75% of an estate could go to the federal government.
Jeez.
When you think about the tax, the probate tax and estate tax.
Yeah.
When it's all said and done, it's insane. So we can avoid that, and we can avoid it legally through estate planning, revocable trust, pour over will. And then these are the documents that also are important. A durable power of attorney, which is basically a legal document that you designate as someone to be your legal representative who can act on your behalf in the event that you're incapacitated and you're not able to carry out decisions on your own while you're still living. That durable power of attorney will give them extensive or limited authority to act on your behalf. So super, super important to have that document in place. You cannot have a surgery today in the United States without having a healthcare directive or power of attorney. So that healthcare directive power of attorney basically tells the surgeon they're able to surge on you, and if you stop breathing, in the worst case scenarios in the middle of an event, they need to know who's the designee that's going to pull the plug, who's going to say, do we continue life support? Do we not? That's a big burden to put on someone, but having that in writing, having your wishes made known, super, super important, especially as you age, because as you age, 7 out of 10 people over the age of 65 will deal with a long-term care event. Yep. So making sure that these documents are in place is going to be super important. So this comes into, we go, okay, the will. The living will is that attached document to the estate plan that basically communicates the preferences of life sustainment treatments, terminal illness, any of those things that could cause pause, with your family. That living will make sure that those, what I just said, those directives are in place to carry out wishes, and it takes a lot of that hardship off your family. So super, super important to go through that. Now, if you want to see more about this and understand more about this, we would be happy to give you this document. There's going to be a couple of places you can get it. One, we'll put guys, we can put a hyperlink, I think, in the podcast, right?
Yep.
At the end to do that. More importantly, we have a site you can go to now called estateboxpro.com. If you guys can throw that up on the screen for me. So, again, we created this, actually, it was about 3 years ago, I think now, and then we just relaunched again the new and improved estate planning site. So one of the things you can see right on the first part of the page here is you can take our quiz to see whether or not, should you just have a will with a living will with those medical directives, medical power of attorney, or should you go the trust route and having a revocable living trust? Now, we keep it very simple, Shannon. Mm-hmm. We're only going to offer two pieces of the puzzle here. Again, if you have an estate and a sizable estate, you should get legal counsel involved because you're probably going to want to do some irrevocable stuff. We don't offer that as software as a service here. And again, we're not replacing the attorney here. What we're doing is providing documents, software as a service to be able to help you DIY, do it yourself estate planning. And this site will just simply walk you through all of that process and how to do it. And then more importantly is that we give you a portal, in a digital portal, to upload the documents to and to store these documents online after they've been signed, after they've been ratified. And then when you want to go back and change your estate, change your mind, change the trust out, you can do that for as little as $99 a year. Mm-hmm. So we have an upfront charge. If you're not a client of our firm, that charge is $1,995 for a revocable living trust and pour over will, medical directive, medical power of attorney, and quitclaim deed to change the title of your home. If you do a will and just a will, that's $695. That comes with your basic will, medical attorney, medical directive, and power of attorney. But we still charge $9.99 a month or $99 a year to cover the cost of storage and cover the cost of giving you a place that if you want to go back and update or make changes, you can do that all online. So great tool, great resource. We do offer discounts, as I said, to our clients. So if you're going to this site as a client of Kenneth Porter and Company, before you check out, call us. We'll make sure you get a discount code. If you're a veteran and you can show us that you're a veteran, DD 214, current ID, something that proves your veteran status.
We don't make copies of it.
Yep, we don't make. Yep, we just need to see it. Then having that, you also get special pricing and special discount off our baseline price. Now, there are a lot of places out there, Shannon, right now that are offering this do-it-yourself service, and you will see, and I'll transparently tell you, you'll see people say, "Oh, we'll give you the trust for $600." It's the gotchas that you have to watch out for. Our pricing is straightforward, no gimmicks, just here's what it costs.
Yep.
There's a lot of sites out there that they'll advertise $695, and the next thing you know, you're in the checkout cart with all these add-ons, and you're $2,500 or more is what I'm seeing.
It reminds me of Ryanair. In Europe, you can fly from Brussels to Lithuania for $50.
Oh boy!
But they're going to charge you for the baggage. If you don't bring your paper ticket with you, $25 to print the paper ticket.
What?
Oh yeah. It's just upcharge. That $50 ticket turns into about $300 or $400 by the time you're done.
So you might as well just get on Delta.
You pick your seat, $65 to pick your seat. Yeah. Yep.
Wow. So you won't get any of that mess from us. $19.95 for a revocable living trust, unless you're a client of the firm. Then it's deeply discounted.
Yep.
if you are a veteran or active duty, deeply discounted. And I don't want to go into those because I don't, on the show, people, there's just people out there that will abuse.
Yeah, just give
the
us a
good
call.
nature. We'll take care of you.
Yeah.
Shorty, anything to add to the estate plan talk today? I know we kept this short.
I think one of the things that we talk a lot about is have a plan. Just have a plan, right? If you don't plan, typically when things go wrong, you have to hurry up, and you're making decisions in a bind.
What's the old saying? Most people don't plan to fail; they fail to plan.
Fail to plan, yeah.
Yeah.
I would just say, if you're not thinking about this, you should, because there's one guarantee in life. Well, two, you need oxygen, and number two, we're all going to pass away at some point.
Yeah.
And like you said in the beginning, we all have an estate.
Yeah.
Right. So come up with a plan. We can help you with that, and that's it.
Well, awesome. Hey, as always, thank you for participating. If you're watching the show and you love it, please hit the subscribe button. Smash that like button. What else do they need to do now? What's the other two things or one thing? Come on, you guys know.
Like, comment, subscribe.
There you go. Like, comment, subscribe. There you go.
There you go.
The voice from the room, from
Yeah.
the dark room. All right. Hey, we love you guys. Thanks for participating as always. See you on the other side.
Wherever you reduce speed to 180.
Blackbox.